Welcome to main chat. I see we got some more viewers. Let me know in the comments where you are checking in from as we go ahead and get started. So, let me introduce myself. I am Coach Trail. I have been a natural. Sometime in October will be a total of 14 years where I have had no relaxer in my hair. I have indulged in like color and straightening and things of that nature, but I've been natural for almost 14 years. Majority of that time I spent in protective styles, quick weaves, braids, plaits, um, whatever it was that I didn't have to do my hair because like most naturals, I didn't know what to do to my hair. I didn't know what products to use. I didn't know how to style it. I didn't know nothing about my hair. And so it was easier to just get some braids, take them out in 6 to 8 weeks, wash it, and repeat the cycle all over again. 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago almost, let me go ahead and turn this off. I stumbled across Curl Mix, who has a 4-step wash and go system, and I purchased that product for my daughter who wanted to wear her natural hair, but I couldn't. I didn't know what products to use to allow her hair to stay in its natural curl pattern. And I did her wash and go. It was absolutely beautiful and amazing. And I was like, that stuff is not going to do that for my hair. My hair is not going to look like that. But I was willing to give it a try, and I literally took my braids out and did my first wash and go. It was not the best wash and go, but it gave me it encouraged me to like really embrace my hair, and I've been wearing wash and goes literally ever since. During that time, Curl Mix, they were doing master classes where they teach you how to use the products and how to apply the technique and to basically master your curls in 21 days. And I was like, I want to be a curl coach. And so I worked on my hair and I mastered my curls, and I ended up becoming a curl coach for Curl Mix in February of 2023. And since then, I've coached 4 or 5 master classes. I cannot remember, but I've coached a few master classes, and we all share our hair journeys, our hair stories, our hair product routines, our tips. We share all things of our hair to help encourage others on their journey. And I felt like there were a lot of people that are not curl mixers that could really benefit from this information that not only just I was sharing, but we were sharing as a community. And then, like, some people need that encouragement and support. Some people need, like, someone to walk them through their process in the shower. Like, they need you to be in the shower with them. Hey, I need you to show me how to do this, that, and the third. And so I founded P.A.C.E Curly Coaching, where where we embrace the journey of curly hair with patience, acceptance, consistency, and education. And those were the 4 things that I needed to really embrace my hair journey, and to see my hair thrive in a way that I have never seen it. And so, with that being said, in the midst of forming P.A.C.E, I was like, okay, but I want to share all of this information in a live stream setting where I can interact with you guys, answer your questions live versus like doing like mini snippet videos and going back through. And so I felt like this would be the perfect platform, and so I created Main Chat as a sister to P.A.C.E Curly Coaching. And here we empower you with tips, tricks, and truths about embracing and caring for your natural hair. And so, for those that are seasoned naturals, that are newbies, or somewhere in between, my goal is that you find inspiration, education, and a little laughter along the way, because we know that natural hair can be very daunting sometimes, especially depending on where you are in your journey. And so I want us to laugh about our experiences, our journeys, and where we are as we begin to love and embrace our hair. So with all of that, Welcome to Main Chat live stream. We are on part 10 tonight, and we're talking about maintenance and routine and what that will look like for you depending on the state of your hair. And at the end of the day, we're responsible for our crowns. You know, some of us, I have a stylist, most of us, some of us have a stylist, some of us don't, but we interact with our hair on a daily basis. We know our hair history, we know what it's done been through, and we know what we want it to be like in the future. So investing the time into your hair, getting to know your hair. I talk about our D steps and what those acronyms mean and how we apply them to understanding our hair and taking all of that information, which it can be a lot. That's why we take it week by week, take notes, taking all of that information and really learning your hair and applying it so that you can make the best of your hair. Because if you love your hair, it will love you back. I I believe it wholeheartedly. I used to not love Sunflower. She didn't have a name. It was just hair. And we have a relationship now. And she tells me what she wants. She tells me what she needs. And I try my best to give her that. So, as we dive into our conversation tonight, if you have questions, please make sure you post them in the chat so that I can answer them live while we are talking amongst one another. So, I want to ask you all, what is your hair goal? Because your routine and your maintenance it factors into what are your hair goals. Is it moisture retention? Is it definition where you want like super defined curls throughout your whole head? Is it growth? Or is it volume? Or is it all of those? Because you can have all four of these goals in the midst of having a healthy hair routine. So, somebody done got hurt. I hear somebody crying. But let me know, what is your hair goal? For me, my hair goal is volume. I've I have the moisture. It took me about a good 6 months to really get my hair in the hydrated state that it needed to be. So I have the moisture retention. I have the definition. I styled my hair Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So these is day 4 curls. Very defined. So we have definition. I'm not interested in growth. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I just told y'all I prefer short hair. I'm not interested in growth. Maybe a little bit at the top, but not growth. But volume. That's what I wanted. Like my goal coming into the new year was I was like, I got the definition. I want it to be big. I want big hair. I want short, big hair. It does make sense. You can have short, big hair, but that's my goal. So, what is your goal? Tanya says all of those, and they're all accessible. They're all accessible. All of those, I am trying to start washing every 3 to 4 days for hydration. Miss Linda, that will definitely get you on the path to hydrated hair. When I first started my curl journey, that was my goal. I wanted hydrated hair. And I learned that the products don't hydrate the hair. It's water that hydrates the hair. And then the products just lock in the hydration from the water. And so I literally would wash my hair every 3 to 4 days, no matter what my hair looked like. There were days where I had bomb defined curls. I would wash my hair consistently, and I literally did that for 365 days straight. I tracked it. I think I got to. I don't want to tell no story, but I want to say I got to like 74 washes in that year. If I'm not mistaken, I think I got to. Let me see, because I don't want to tell no story. Let's see. 72. 72 washes. So for a year consistently, I wash every 3 to 4 days, and I did 72 washes. So it is definitely possible. So if that's your goal, be consistent. Stay on track. I always encourage you all to take pictures of your hair. Like, pictures will tell you 1,000 words. You will be like, oh, my hair looks horrible. It doesn't look good. I don't have definition. And you take a picture of it, and then you go back 3 weeks later, you be like, oh my God, like, my hair really did look good. When you start tracking your progress with pictures, taking notes. One of our girlfriends, she created a hair journaling app because she felt there was a need for it. There were apps, but you couldn't upload pictures. You couldn't like put your products in there. You couldn't put notes. And so she created an app called Crown Chronicles. It's free on Apple and Android. You can upload your pictures. You can upload up to 3 pictures. She has, like, depending on, she has pre-populated products. So whatever products you use, different companies and brands, they're already pre-populated in there, from your shampoos, conditioners, your gels, your leave-ins, what hairstyle you did. You can put how long it took. Like, you can write notes. It's a great tool and resource to use. For some of us, I like to write stuff down. Like, I'm a writer. Like, for whatever reason, if I don't write it, it don't make sense. Like, I could put it in my phone. Yes, that's cool, but I need to write it. But utilize those tools so that it helps you stay on track with your hair goals, and then going back and looking at where you started to where you are, and then when you get to your goal, you're going to be impressed and amazed. But yes, so healthy hair begins with establishing a foundation of information, which is your hair, your D steps. What is your density? What is your structure, far as your the width and diameters of your curl strands? What is your surface texture, your elasticity, your porosity, your scalp? All of those things is information that you need to know about your hair. And once you have that information, developing a plan based off of your goals. So a solid foundation and effective maintenance building is the heart of healthy hair care. That's where it's at. That foundation, understanding your hair, and then putting in that time and effort to building a routine that's centered around that. Miss Dees is working on moisture retention, growth, definition for moisture. I'm going to start washing her every every other day. So this is my opinion, and just disclaimer, I am not a licensed cosmetologist. I am not a licensed specialist. Everything I share with you is things from my own personal experience. It's things I've researched and looked up. And so I always encourage you all, any information that I share with y'all, I always tell you guys to do your due diligence, do your research. But my opinion on washing every other day, anything of too much is bad, no matter what it is. If we drink too much water for too long, it can be harmful to our bodies. So we think about that when we're talking about our hair. Yes, we want our hair to be hydrated and retain moisture, but washing your hair every day, you can send your hair into hydro not fragile, hydro fatigue. That's the word. Hydro fatigue. And basically, anytime we wet our hair, we open up our cuticles. Anytime we wet our hair, because again, our hair is naturally resistant to water. So that's why for some of us it takes our hair a long time. Us low porosity people, it takes our hair a long time to absorb that water. But once it absorbs, it's because the cuticles have opened to allow that water in. If you do that too often, your hair will go into hydro fatigue. And so your cuticles will remain open. Your hair will be very mushy. It will not hold curl definition. It's going to be very limp. And then you're talking about, now you're incorporating all of these different types of treatments, bonding treatments, protein treatments, because now you're trying to strengthen the hair. So I personally, this is my opinion, at the end of the day, it's your hair. You are entitled to do whatever you would like. But I would not recommend every other day. I think that's a little excessive and it's going to cause long term effects. In the beginning, you may be like, oh, it's working, but over time, you're going to see that your hair is not responding the way you probably want it to. You might have good curls now, and then they start to become very limp, and they just have no life to them. They're going to be lifeless. So I would do every 3 to 4 days. 3 to 4 days is ideal, and then you have to be. I know you use like the honey hydration shampoo, but being mindful of the type of shampoo you use. Like you don't want to use like uh, um, a over cleansing shampoo every time you decide to wash your hair. So that's just something to think about. Just something to think about. But I would look up hydro fatigue and get more of an understanding before taking that leap. Oh, so how often should I wash? Every 3 to 4 days. That would be my recommendation. Recommendation. I told y'all I had a shot. I'm sorry. Recommendation every 3 to 4 days, ideally. Ideally. All right. So the type of maintenance to be followed depends. Again, that depends on your particular hair goals. The success with any hair routine is determined by your ability and the amount of time that is going to be required to succeed these goals. So when we think about our hair goals, we have to think about how does it align with the amount of time, because we're talking about washing our hair every 3 to 4 days. Some individuals may not have the time because of their lifestyle to do every 3 to 4 days. So when we're talking about developing a routine, it has to be something that aligns with the type of lifestyle that you're currently living. So let's talk about hair maintenance, what that looks like. And we're going to start with like poor hair maintenance, which I've been there. I told you all I used to wear protective styles, braids, plaits, and I would literally keep them in 6 to 8 weeks because I needed to get my money's worth. And I would take them out. I would wash my hair that one time, and then I would go back and get braids for 6 to 8 weeks again. That was poor hair maintenance. That was poor hair maintenance. And when I think about it now, like wow, like I literally wash my hair every 7 days. Like I used to do 3 to 4 days, and then once my hair got into a hydrated state, I could go 5 days between a wash and go. I went to every 5 days, and now I can go every 7 days. I could probably go longer than 7 days, but for the health of my hair, I'm not going to go longer than 7 days between washes. Okay, so poor hair care maintenance. That typically involves poor product selection and incorrect usage, extended periods of time between hair cleansing. I just told y'all I was that person. No moisture sources or excessive use of protein products. I can't wait till we get into our moisture protein balance because that is so critical. Um, when we talk about poor product selection or incorrect usage, when we buy products and it says anything about strengthening, what's another word to use? Anything that has like keratin or protein, and we're using that every time we style our hair, our hair don't shouldn't need protein every week unless it's in a hydro fatigue state and we're trying to build the strength back. Then in that case it would. But using excessive amount of proteins can make the hair very dry and brittle and ultimately lead to breakage. Daily heat use, rough handling of our hair. I when I was still natural, but I straightened my hair. I used to get it silk pressed, and every day or every other day I bring that flat iron out because my curls wouldn't stay. I bring that flat iron out and flat iron my hair to bring some curls to it. Just poor hair maintenance. Hey, Miss Sandra, it's okay you're late. It's okay. We're talking about hair maintenance and routine, and right now we're talking about poor hair maintenance. You know, the things that we used to do back in the day before we know better. You know, we know better, we do better. So we're talking about when we didn't know no better. But excessive heat and rough handling of our hair. Um, I was guilty of that as well. Like again, my hair was just hair. I combed it roughly, brushed it. I didn't even know how to properly detangle my hair, y'all. I did not know how to properly detangle my hair. So just, you know, when we start to think about how we handle our hair and just being more delicate and more gentle and more caring with it, it makes such a huge difference. But when we don't know better, we can't do better. But color abuse, bleaching, too frequent coloring of our hair, and then coloring hair that's already in a poor condition. So if you are already suffering from damaged hair, such as dry hair, it's brittle, it's frail, and then you go add chemical coloring to it, you're just exposing it to more harsh treatment. Those are the things that we consider poor hair maintenance. And then excessive trimming to damage. We do know that trimming our hair is important, but if you're always trimming it because it's in a damaged state, you're never seeing any type of growth. So during the poor hair care maintenance, we have our damaged hair exceeds the rate of progress. So if you are in that state, if you are doing any of the things that I just mentioned, I encourage you to take a step back, reassess the situation, reassess your hair, um, and come up with a plan. And if you can't come up with a plan, you can DM me and we can come up with a plan together on how we can get your hair in a healthier state. Okay. So when we talk about all of these series of bad things, we ultimately know what's going to happen over that period of time. Thinning, balding, or you're not going to see any growth. No growth retention. No, you're not going to see the things that you're seeking because we're just not doing what we should be doing for the better state of our hair. So all of those things is inflicting damage. And in order to correct that, we have to do better. So that's what poor hair care maintenance looks like. So we get out the poor hair care maintenance. Hi, Patsy. So now we're talking about basic hair care maintenance. And I I don't want to use the word bare minimum, but it's better than poor, you know? So this is the basic, these are the basic things that we're doing. It's okay that you're late. You're here. I felt your presence. I knew that you were coming. I knew that you were coming. Um, but when our hair is in a basic maintained state, um we're kind of just above the point of losing its strength. You know, it's in a better condition, but we can still do better. So this is kind of what a typical basic hair care maintenance looks like. Hit or miss product selection. So kind of like one of those things where we be buying all of these products and be like, oh yeah, this working. And then we go buy some more products and be like, oh, that's not working. And then instead of going back to the stuff that was working, we keep fiddling and faddling back and forth with all of these different products, or we're using the products incorrectly. That's where that word consistency come in at. I see it in the comments, like because I'm a curl mixer. That's all I use is curl mix. But I see it in the comments, like on their ads. People will be like, I bought the product and it didn't work. And I always want to ask, like, how often did you use it? Because I've been that person where I buy a product, I use it once, and I'm like, this don't work for my hair, and I trash it, or I stuff it under the sink and go buy something else, and then I have a whole shelf of products that probably did work. I just wasn't using them correctly for my hair in the state that it was, because we do know that our product selection will change in a sense depending on the state of our hair. So, hit or miss with product selection or incorrect usage. Few moisture sources or greases and oils substituting for moisturizers. As I stated before, your moisture source is going to come from water. Like hydrated hair comes from consistent wash routines. When I say wash routines, I'm talking about washing at least every 7 to 10 days. I wash at 5 days sometimes, depending on the state of your hair. When you know your hair and you see that it's getting in a dry state by day 5, you don't have to wait to day 7 to wash your hair. Wash it at day 5, because if you wait to day 7, that means all of the moisture has going to been evaporated out of your hair, and so it's going to take longer to hydrate the hair. So the goal is to beat the hair to dryness. So don't wait till it's completely deplenished of its moisture source. Catch it before it do that. So 7 to 10 days. For some people, it may be 3 to 4 days. At one point, it was 3 to 4 days for me. Then I gradually moved to 5 days. Now I'm at 7. I could go longer, but it's a choice I choose not to make. But hydrating our hair with water and then using our products, our leave-ins, to lock in that moisture, and then using a lightweight oil like jojoba oil, argan oil, to seal in that moisture. I don't encourage people to put oil on dry hair, because an oil, when you're talking about serums and oils, they're used as sealants, or they're used to like penetrate the strand. But if you're putting it on bone dry hair, what is it sealing? Absolutely nothing. It's giving you the illusion that your hair is moisturized because it's glycerine. And for whatever reason, in the black community, if our hair is shining, we see that as a state of healthy hair, and it's not. It's just, it got oil on it. It's supposed to shine. But when you touch it, yeah, your hands is greasy, but it's not absorbing anything. So learning how to correctly hydrate and moisturize our hair. Infrequent hair cleansing and conditioning. So when I hear the word infrequent, I'm thinking about somebody that said, I wash my hair maybe once a month or every other week. To me, that's infrequent, but that may work for your lifestyle, so that's why you're in a basic hair care maintenance routine. Excessive use of protein sources. Again, we know excessive use of protein dries out our hair. It makes it brittle, and eventually it's going to break. Direct heat use for daily styles. I'm not saying don't use heat, but we don't want to use it on a daily basis. At least maybe once a week. Especially in the basic maintenance stage, because if your hair is in a healthier state, it may can take that type of heat. But if it's not in a good healthy state and you're giving it those heat sources, it's not, it's not going to make sense. You're not going to see the end results that you want. High manipulation styles. The goal would be to do your hair in a style where you don't have to touch it every day. I touch my hair every day because I fluff it out and I might give it a shake, but I don't have to style my hair every day. So we want to go for styles where we're not consistently or consecutively touching our hair or restyling it or readjusting it or constantly brushing it and combing it every day. That's considered high manipulation styles. And then we're not protecting our hair shaft and our ends. The ends of our hair is the oldest part of our hair. And so those ends need the most care. They need the most love. They need the most moisture. They need the most because they're old. Think about elders. They need the most help. They need the most support. That's how our ends are. So when we're having those high manipulation styles or protective styles that's not protecting our ends, you're exposing your ends to damage. And if you expose them to damage, what they're going to do? They're going to break. Getting relaxers. Me personally, I don't want to relax. I haven't had none in 14 years, but there are people that still get relaxers. and there's nothing wrong with it, but just making sure that you're not over relaxing your hair, I know back in the day, anytime some new growth came, they would slap and relax on it. Yeah, we don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. And then infrequent hair trimming or abundant hair trimming. So getting your hair trimmed is important, but doing it too often, you're not going to be able to see your retention, or not doing it enough. And I went through a phase last year where I wasn't getting my trims, and I blew my hair out, and I was like, yeah, we need a haircut. Because the goal should be for your hair to, however it look at the roots, it should look at the end. If it's thick at the roots, it should be thick at the end. When you blow your hair out, for me, and I keep saying I'm gonna post a video, and I still haven't posted it. I blew my hair out, and all of this was like really thick and just beautiful. And the top, it was like see through, and I was like, oh my god, how did this happen? Because I wasn't trimming, and I got split ends and split travel, and I wasn't even doing like little snippets here. I don't know, y'all. I don't know what I was doing, but Sunflower paid for it. Sunflower paid for it. So, um, that's what a basic hair care routine looks like. So again, it's average. The hair can be maintained with this level at a decent length for a good period of time. Um, I'm thirsty, y'all. I don't have no water. I know that was random, but like I'm so thirsty right now, and I don't have nothing to drink. Um, but again, it's average haircut routine, and the rate of damage is equivalent to the rate of hair progress. So it's a balance in a sense. It's average, but the ultimate goal should be a healthy hair care routine. So let's talk about what a healthy hair care routine look like. So in a healthy hair routine, the hair grows out and it becomes you retaining your length. You're retaining the length, which is at the ends. Improvements in the hair and length can be seen and documented from month to month, week to week, and year to year. This is considered like your top tier routine. Is like the platinum packet of hair routines. And your hair is thriving and is growing throughout that process. And so healthy hair routines promote one or more of these particular standards. Um, you're carefully planning and strategic about your product selection. Your moisture levels are maintained within your strands. Adequate moisture and protein balance. That moisture protein balance is everything. Um, the protection of the hair shaft and the ends from the physical damage. That particular episode where I talk about like the layers of our hair shaft, it's Facebook deleted it, so I'm trying to figure out how can I recap that information. But protecting our ends and protecting our hair shaft. That's part of our healthy hair routine. Low manipulation hairstyles. Um, two strand twists. A lot of people are doing like these mini twists right now, so they don't have to do their hair on a daily or weekly basis. Um, Regular two strand twists, flat twists, wash and goes, even getting plaits and braids and things like that. Those are no low manipulation styles, but one of the things that I learned that I didn't do or I didn't even know I should be doing with braids was keeping my scalp clean. So even though we're getting our braids and our knotless plaits, making sure that we're taking care of our scalp. Um, Natural hair without chemicals or chemicals administered no more than 10 to 12 weeks. So we're talking about like those relaxers. Getting those in a timely manner versus excessively doing it. Um, And then maintaining our diet and our body. So we know that the health of our hair is related to the health of our body because, our hair starts growing within. It don't, it don't grow once it hit the scalp. Like, it starts within and then it comes out. So if the insides is healthy and we're nourishing our body with the right foods and water and vitamins and exercising and keeping our stress levels down and balancing our hormones, all of that plays a role in the health of our hair. So all of those things is what your healthy hair routines looks like. Um, Consistently having a consistent wash day routine. Again, being selective about the products that you use because you may need a product at the beginning of the month. Because for me, I have color in my hair. I can't really see it, and I cut a lot of it out. But my stylist instructed me every other week to do a bonding and protein treatment. Well, not protein treatment, but to use a protein shampoo and a protein deep conditioner. And then before I even shampoo, to use the Olaplex 3 bonding treatment. So those are not something that I do every wash day, but every other wash day I do. Deep conditioning. So being selective about your product selection, hydrating your hair and sealing it in, getting your trims regularly. Just all of those things that your hair can actually thrive and grow is. And so we talk about our hair goals. That is how we get moisture retention. That is how we get curl definition. Because believe it or not, when your hair is in a hydrated state, you're going to see your curls form before you even put any product on them. And honestly, the first product that goes on your hair is water. So when you get in the shower and you wet your hair and you start to see those curls forming, you're like, oh yeah, my hair getting hydrated, or my hair is hydrated. And so when you get to your styling, you're just using your stylist to lock those curls in because they're already there. So your moisture retention, that definition, volume comes with just styling technique, how you style your hair, how you dry it. Um, that helps with volume. What was the other one? Growth. For those that want growth, I don't want growth. That's not one of my hair goals. But all of those things, when you have a healthy, maintained hair routine, you can accomplish all four of those goals. So, um, healthy hair routines ensure that hair retention is maintained over a period of time, and that's going to reduce your exposure to outside damage. So let's keep in mind that long hair is always old hair because, you know, our hair, when we're growing, the new growth or the new hair, it starts up here. By the time it get mid shift, it's kind of like teenage hair. We think about aging wise, it's kind of like an teenage adulthood. And then as it gets longer, it's considered old hair. And so old hair requires more delicacy, um, more TLC. That's the word I like to use. It requires more TLC. So the longer your hair is, the more care and time that you have to put into it. And so the ultimate common denominator between having long hair and healthy hair is time. It's time. That's that patience that I like to talk about. Being patient, investing in your hair, taking the necessary time that it requires to do your hair. My goal is it takes me about 2 hours. In the beginning, it used to take me about 4 hours to wash and style my hair. But look where it got me. And so now I'm at 2 hours. And I take 2 hours to style my hair on Sunday. And those 2 hours last me all the way for 7 days. So it's the investment. It's the time that we invest into our hair. Um, so yeah, as I was getting to that, healthy hair is a investment of time and effort. Time is everything. The common growth denominator is time. Progress takes time. One common and one commodity that all people with healthy, long, thriving hair share is the amount of time they invest in their hair. With time and due diligence, the reward of your hair goals and success. That's it. That is it. So let's figure out how can we build a foundation of a healthier hair routine. No matter what if your hair is in a healthy, thriving state, is growing, is flourishing, then put in the comments, what are you doing? Tell us. And then for those that don't know, that need some help, need some support, that's why Coach Trell is here. My goal, my mission is to um, help empower you through your hair journey. Um, not Hair does not come easy for some of us. For some of us, we've never had to do our hair. We've always had the stylist or a cousin or a sister or somebody that did our hair. And then COVID happened and we couldn't go outside. And then we had to take matters into our own hand. And that's where a lot of us found YouTube and all of these other different hair communities and trying all of these different things for our hair. And right now, you still might be like, I'm on the struggle bus. I still ain't got it. I need help. Like, I done did this, I done did that. Coach Cheryl, what you saying, it sound good, but it still ain't computing because I done did that. Well, send me a message so we can help. My mission is to empower individuals to celebrate their unique curls. We all have new unique curls. Just like our DNA separates us and makes us different, so does our curls. We might see somebody be like, oh, that's my hair twin. But when you start touching and feeling and evaluating and assessing, you be like, oh, we're a little bit different, but I can relate. So, finding someone that has a similar hair type, it's inspiration. When I took my first curl mix master class, my first coach, our hair went nowhere similar in no shape, form, or fashion. She had that long, silky, bouncy hair, and when she was styling it, she was smushing it. I was like, man, I ain't finna do that. But I learned from her. I learned how to use the products. But when it came to styling my hair, there was nothing that she did that I could have used for my hair. But my second coach, my second curl coach, I could relate more to her hair than I could my first coach. Mind you, Coach Janet had long hair. It was her hair was different, but it was relatable for me. And just seeing her technique, to see how she did her hair and applied her products and separated her hair and smoothed it, and how gentle and delicate and just all of those things was like, oh, so that's what I need to do. So it's not that we're looking for someone to do everything they're doing to their hair, because that may not be the state of our hair, but just finding inspiration or tips or nuggets or just something, that aha moment. Like every time we have a masterclass, we haven't had a masterclass this year, but I've attended 25, 26, 27 masterclasses. I don't even remember. And every masterclass, no matter the coach, no matter their hair type, no matter their hair texture, no matter their length, no matter any of those things, no matter what products they were using, I was always able to take something away from just their experience. So coming on here, sharing my experience, you guys sharing your experience in the comments. We never know who's watching, who's listening, and be like, I'm gonna try that. And that be the thing that worked. Not everything works for everybody, so I don't want no one to take away like, well, Coach Trail said I need to do this and it's gonna work. No, I'm not saying that, because it's not on one side. It's not on one shoe size fit all. You have to experiment with your hair. You got to learn your hair. That's first and foremost. Learn your hair. And then as you begin to learn your hair, you start incorporating things that you've heard or things that you see. And if it works, keep at it. Like I'm a firm believer, if it works, keep doing it. If it don't work, stop doing it and try something else. And then even sometimes when your hair is in a unhealthier state and you try something, it might not work, or the products might not work, or you might not like the results of the products. But as your hair begin in a different state, it's more hydrated. You know, it's you done detoxed it and got rid of all of that old icky stuff that you was putting in your hair, and then you reapply something that you did maybe 6 weeks ago. You're like, my hair didn't do this the last time. So sometimes it's just be that your hair is not in the state to accept that product, or maybe your expectations of what you want your hair to look like is not ideal, because some of us aren't comfortable with our tight curls, or some of us are not comfortable with shrinkage, or some of us are not comfortable with short hair. Like we feel like we have to have long hair. So accepting your hair in the condition that it is, accepting your hair the length that it is, like that's the key part of it. Once you start to accept it, then you start to love it, you start to embrace it, and then no matter what it looked like, or no matter what your expectations of it, you're still able to rock it, and like no matter what, like my hair still looks good. So, that's what I'm here for, is to offer encouragement, to offer support, and, be that guide that you may need to help you get to that next step. So, I hope you all enjoyed tonight's live. I Next week, I'm trying to think, because next week is a really busy week. We got graduations. We got stuff going on next week. We'll see by next week. But part 11, when we get to part 11, rather it's next Wednesday or the Wednesday after next, I will let y'all know what we're going to do next week. We're going to continue this conversation about how to combat damage control. So if your hair is in a damaged state currently, we're going to talk about what can we do to combat that damage. What type of products can we incorporate, or maybe we need to eliminate to get our hair back in control. So that is my spiel for tonight. I did pretty good. I've only been on here an hour and 2 minutes. So that is my spiel for tonight. I appreciate you guys. Yeah. So that's all that I have. Let me check the comments to see if any new comments came in. The last thing I see was P.A.C.E. She put some hearts in there, some smiley face, happy hearts.